Andrew Constance, thanks for joining us. A win is a win. To see the Nats hang on to the upper hunter gives the government a little bit more stability. There must be at least some encouragement in Liberal Party ranks, in coalition ranks in New South Wales.
Yeah, I mean, look, ultimately, I think most people aren't really engaged in by-elections, but for the people of the upper hunter, they've got a great new local member, someone who I think is going to deliver for them, which is really important. And you know, again, I think, you know, the message out of this is that Labor aren't reading the tea leaves. They're not reading the room right. And I think people are fed up with negative politics the whole time, particularly in the middle of a pandemic. You know, we need positivity. We need stuff to look forward to. And if you're whinging and whining on the news every night, people turn off pretty quick. So, you know, the Labor leadership in New South Wales, obviously, in terms of what they're doing today and the games around that, that's one thing. But got to tell you, I mean, people up there, like most country people, they just want to know what the future holds, and they want confidence in their political leadership. And I think that certainly the Premier of New South Wales is able to deliver that to them.
Look, energy is fairly important. There's a number of issues, a number of factors at play, but energy is key. And Labor spent a long time dismissing coal-fired power and also the coal industry more generally. Then they run a candidate up there backing the coal industry, but then at the same time their federal energy spokesperson comes in and disses a gas-fired electricity generation plant going into the region. Do you think that that would have played a role, that confusion over whether Labor supports coal and secure reliable energy, or is bound to get rid of it?
Yeah, look, I mean, I've got family in the mining industry, and they're constantly saying to me, look, the contradiction in messages from political leadership really harms people. It doesn't give them the confidence when they go to work every day. There is no doubt that in terms of the future of the industry, having that roadmap, knowing what the future holds is part of that. And Labor, for a long time, have walked away from their Labor roots. I mean, it was a union movement that led to the formation of a political party. And nowadays, you know, certainly on our side of politics, we're very proud to be representing the workers of the state and giving them confidence, both in terms of job security and jobs growth. And, you know, the proof is in the making. I mean, you look at the way we're investing in infrastructure in the regions versus metropolitan areas. We're spending dollars everywhere, and that is about jobs, and it is about looking after workers, and it is about giving those families every opportunity. And there's certainly no doubt, you know, the contradiction messages from the inner city left that the Labor Party deliver one message to versus what they're saying to regional people is very confusing. And I think that, you know, the people of the upper hunter sent a very clear message in that regard.
Well, that's a big lesson for
us all.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, that's a big lesson for Labor, not just in New South Wales, but nationally. But there are lessons here for the Liberal Party too, because you had a former Liberal Prime Minister, Malcolm Turnbull, buying in up there with a sort of anti-coal message. Also, your own colleague, the State Environment Minister, Matt Keane, who had appointed Malcolm Turnbull and then rescinded it to an advisory body. But Matt Keane was suddenly nowhere. He went AWOL, I think, wisely during the election campaign. Your side of politics needs to figure out what side of this argument you stand on, whether it's with the jobs and the workers or for those inner city Green left electorates.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the interesting dynamics which has happened certainly over the years is that Labor have vacated a lot of areas, you know, where it's been traditional Liberal Party heartland, which is why we have seen some of these Green independents like Zali Steggall elected in areas which have traditionally been, you know, obviously conservative/progressive side of politics. And that has led, obviously, to as much a challenge in that regard for everybody. I mean, I represent a regional seat. I know that people in my electorate care about the environment. We've seen that certainly after the fires. But, you know, ultimately, it's about making sure that the policies reflect the values of everybody in terms of the direction we're taking. And you've got to make sure your message is strong, it's consistent, and you've got to make sure that you deliver alongside that message. It's not just about the talk. And, you know, we do have a very clear policy in terms of jobs in the mining sector in this state. At the same time, you know, we've got to balance that out with a sensible program for the environment. So there is absolutely a lesson for everybody. I think that's the key point. You're absolutely right to highlight that. And I think what people are really fed up with is just contradictory messages out of people in politics, and that's where it's really important. Continuing to have good dialogue, taking the community with you, explaining why you do things in the way that you do them. That's the big message out of country people, I think, back to government, both state and federal at the moment.
Now, just something out of left field. It's Bob Dylan's 80th birthday today. Do you have a favourite Dylan song?
Well, I mean, look, he's an artist which was a little bit before my time, so I can't say that he's in my top 10 list. But obviously he's in yours, Chris, given you would have asked the question. But
oh, for sure. I mean, you're losing brownie points with me straight away with that.
No. I'm a big Rolling Stones fan, so...
Oh, yeah, well, there we go.
Yeah, I'm a big Rolling Stones fan. I mean, you see them playing in concert at 80 years of age, and they don't miss a beat. You know, obviously, in terms of an 80th, maybe it's time to do another round of concerts, and then people like yourselves can be out and
very good.
Celebrate strongly.
We'll take that answer as like a Rolling Stone. Thanks for joining us, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Good on you. Thanks, Chris.